All right, so Gary and I are back. We're back from EGX. A lot of indie games today.
A lot of indie
Played
games.
a lot of indie games.
A lot of indie games.
Like, my brain is still a little bit melting from all the indie games that we played. But I guess that's a great statement right there, right? So Nintendo had a lot in their booth, but the indie presence. I was saying to one of the people or one of the developers that you hear, as I was walking around listening to people, I was listening to some of the conversations they were having with developers, and the question was always, is this coming to Switch?
Yeah.
Right. Like that seems to be the question, and we were talking to Hyper Sentinel, the developers of that, and they had said that it's like no brainers.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you're developing for your game, you have to. Right. So I don't know. I guess we're going to talk a little bit about that. Any couple games that you played for indies that really stood out for you, or that you want to talk about, or really excited about?
Yeah. I mean, for a start, there's the big one, which is Super Meat Boy Forever.
Yes. Yeah. Super Meat Boy Forever.
Which I got hot and sweaty at because it's infuriating, but it's infuriating in a good way.
It really is. Yeah. It's challenging.
Yeah.
Super hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never played the Super Meat Boy before this, so I didn't really know. I knew there was blood and guts. I knew that, but that is an infuriating game.
Yeah, they added tears to the blood and guts, didn't they?
Yeah. Really,
a lot of crying.
A lot of crying occurred in that. Yeah. But you're just generally happy with it?
Yeah, it was really good. I was actually surprised that because people are a little bit skeptical of the endless running sort of aspect to it.
And that is the thing to say, right? It is an endless runner, right? So they talked about that a little bit before. The moment you start, you trigger running. But I would say it's a strategic endless runner.
Yeah.
Like there is you have still that precision you have to be on. Like I died so much. Like it was just it was rotten. So I don't know, any other thoughts on that one?
It's one to look out for. I think it's going to do really well. We saw roughly some other things in it, some other characters other than just Meat Boy.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get too much into that because we were stuck on one level.
Yeah. You only go so far, right? The Nindies can only go so far. Okay. We both got a chance to spend some time with Hyper Sentinel.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't love it. You, I think, were a little bit more a fan of it. Yeah. So. Hyper Sentinel is a kind of 8-bit stylized game, very reminiscent of kind of Atari. I mean, definitely reminiscent of Atari and the 8-bit generation shooting space game, essentially. What were your thoughts on that? Yeah,
well, if anybody's a fan of R-Type, Galaga, stuff like that, they're going to feel right at home. It's got so many callbacks to old games, but not in the way that they tried to recreate an old game.
Yeah.
It just looks in that style, but probably more how you remember it than how it actually was.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of features on there. There's filters which you can change to make it look like a Commodore 64 game or an Atari game or all sorts of stuff like that. All different filters, different modes.
Yeah.
It's full of stuff. It's fast, frantic. So if you're into that sort of thing, that's pretty good. But one thing I noticed is it's extremely fair. You didn't go straight in, and it wasn't overbearingly hard, which a lot of those games can be.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Which was nice because you always expect the challenge to be there straight away, but it actually built up to a nice level, I think.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Is it the same for you?
I just wasn't grabbed by it. I thought it just space shooter, left to right, a little bit of strategy. It didn't really feel like there was a lot of depth there. I wanted more. Now, sounds like when they were talking to you, they showed you some more of the bells and whistles. And they were just like, here, you go ahead and play for me. But it just didn't grab me. But it definitely reminded me, and you talked about that, like shooters from the past, those kind of shooters, of playing Captain Skyhawk on the Nintendo. It was one of my very first games I remember playing. But it was that kind of like shooter, kind of had to be strategic of where you're going. But your reference to R-Type is spot on. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But I've just never been a huge fan of it. So it didn't grab me, but cool work. Like, the really cool... it didn't grab me, but I appreciate what it did, right? Like, a lot of people really enjoyed it. I know you were a big fan of that one.
Yeah, and it was really nice seeing it on the Switch's handheld as well. Yeah. Which is a first. Nobody's ever seen it on the Switch.
Yeah.
So this was the first time it's ever been shown to anyone.
Yes.
And we were just lucky enough to be the first.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. It ran really well, looked really crisp on the screen. It was brilliant.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else that you saw that really caught you?
Oh, there was tons.
Yeah.
There was so many, and it was so fast that I'm kind of a bit shell-shocked by it. Worms was a standout.
Worms, yeah,
Worms was really good.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah. Team 17.
Yeah,
Team 17.
Team
Worms
17
was there.
brought a lot of things as well.
Yes, 4 or 5 Switch games specifically from Team 17. They had the Escapists. They had Worms. They had.
I can never remember the name.
Yuki Express.
Yuki Island Express.
Yuki Island Express.
Yeah.
And they had something else in there, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, they had Overcooked. They had Overcooked there. Yeah, they were showing Overcooked. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So you talked about Worms. You played it. I didn't. I'm playing that one tomorrow.
Yeah, we played a full match on Worms.
Yeah.
2-player. You share the same controller, so that's neat. You don't have to buy any more controllers.
Okay.
You can share up to 4 players, I think.
Oh wow.
On the same controller.
So you just pass the controller back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was the full Worms experience. So if anybody's ever had a handheld Worms before,
Yeah.
you kind of got like a half-baked version, I want to say.
Yeah.
This was the full thing.
Yeah.
Worked brilliantly. Exactly how you want it to be. Exactly how it looked.
Okay.
You know, how you want it to look. How you want it to feel. It's Worms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you played Worms before, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah,
here,
basically,
except on the Switch.
if you played the most popular ones with Armageddon and World Party, it's more than that. It's the same but with more.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's cool.
Cool. What else? I played Dimension Drive. Did you play Dimension Drive?
Yes, so I played that on co-op as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't play on co-op, so we're gonna talk about that. So Dimension Drive, very actually kind of like Hyper Sentinel.
Yeah.
It is a space shooter. And I don't know why, but this one grabbed me. It is a space shooter, except the screen is cut in half. So it's like a left side and a right side, and your spaceship's on the left-hand side, and there's an orb on the right-hand side that is mirroring exactly what you do. It's your AI bot. And essentially, you can be battling enemies on the left-hand side, and then jump. And your ship literally jumps the other screen, and now you're fighting on this side. And what you're doing is you're jumping basically scenes back and forth to fight bosses, to get rewards, to stay alive, right? Very often, right? So it was a really cool mechanic.
Yeah.
I thought it was really neat, the ability to just kind of strategically jump back and forth. I was struggled at first a little bit. Like it was like left brain, right brain was not operating for me. But once I got the hang of it, I thought it was a really, really cool game. So that's Dimension Drive. But you played a co-op, so what was that like?
Yeah, it's kind of strange because it looks like it's like a normal split screen multiplayer. It looks like you got one screen on the left for player 1, one screen on the right for player 2, but that's not the case.
Yes.
So you both start on the left screen.
Yeah.
And it's the same. You jump in the dimension between these two screens. You know, sometimes on the one you can have a landmass coming towards you, and you will not be able to escape it unless you jump to the other screen.
Yeah.
It's twice as chaotic on co-op.
Sure, yeah.
As you could probably understand.
Yeah.
Amazing idea. It hadn't been done before, really, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. Really good co-op mode.
Yeah, that was one for me that I'd seen the trailer for it during, I think when Nintendo did their big Nindies back in August. They dropped the trailer, and I think it was like, I don't even part of their sizzle reel. They just dropped it and it was like, here you go. And I went and watched it. I was like, this doesn't really look interesting to me. It wasn't until I played it I was like, yes, yeah, this is really awesome. So there's another game that we played.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the title of it.
No.
So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to remember the title of it and be right back. All right? Hold on. Their title. It is a minimalistic game. It is just lines and squares. And I don't know how to describe this game, except I think this was probably the most fun that we had playing any of the games. At least I did. Like, it was... I had so much fun playing it as a all four of us.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. How would you describe this game?
Oh, well, it depends on what mode you're playing, really.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on what mode you're playing.
Yeah.
The best mode was the multiplayer. So we played a 4-player survival.
Yep.
Which you take control of a cube.
Yep.
Which can kind of do a close proximity attack.
Yep.
And double jump, and you're just avoiding things to start with. So there's like a patterned wave of attacks coming at you, which you have to use the level and all the platforms to avoid these attacks. And you can revive your teammates if they're down, and it ends when all of you die.
Yeah.
Got very frantic very fast.
Yes.
And that's the excitement of it, really, is because it's so simple in its controls and looks that the actual gameplay is the predominant factor in it.
Yeah.
So with the 4 people, you know, you're ducking and diving and losing track of each other, and it gets crazy, but it's really fun.
Yes. Yeah, and that was the thing. So I played it single player originally. And I was really not impressed by it. Like, I remember I was like, this is this is not fun. And then the Nintendo staffer was like, oh, it's a really laid back, relaxed game because you're literally a cube in another square, and there's like stages, just like flat levels. You jump up and down, and they're like, oh, you just try not to die. And I was like, is there a point to this other than that? So I wasn't really grabbed by that. But then we came back to it, and it was four player.
Yeah.
And it was that survival, and that was mad. Like that was because they were actually doing timing of it there.
Yeah.
What's the longest record for everyone staying alive, all four of you, right, before everyone dies, and the max was like 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
No, it was not long, but it's a lot of like, oh my god, I need help over here, and that's a great jump, and yeah, it's really cool. It was I was super impressed by that one. So.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And along the same line of games, there was Rogue Trooper as well.
Yes, yeah.
Which is coming out on other platforms first and the Switch last.
Yeah.
How did you feel about this one?
I didn't like it at all. Yeah. I thought it was a bit garbage, to be completely honest. Yeah. And I guess, and I didn't realize it was a port of an older game.
Yeah, it's a remake.
Yeah. I thought the voice acting was shoddy. I thought the story premise was pretty thin, and everyone looked like buff avatars, like from the movie Avatar, as tank trooper or like as soldiers, and like it just didn't grab me. Yeah, I was not super impressed with it. And the guy was like, "Oh, what'd you think of it?" I was like, "It's a game. Thanks. Have a great day." And I'm like moving on, and I was like, "Here's our card. Don't really interest me." What did you think of it? Did it grab you more than it grabbed me?
Well, yeah.
Okay, all right then. So let's hear your opinion on that.
Now, for disclosure, I played both versions. I played an older beta version at Insomnia 61, and I played the Switch version.
Yeah,
this one, which is a later beta version. Yeah. Runs much better on other consoles. Okay. The Switch one's a little bit worse on the graphics, a little bit choppy, a little bit slower. Something about it's not quite right. Yeah. Which is the thing I want to throw it straight away because that's important. In the general gameplay, it is an old shooter. Mm-hmm. It's one of those where you can run out in front of baddies, take 300 bullets before your health even goes down slightly. Yeah. But it's very generic. Yeah. Which is something that a lot of first-person, third-person shooter fans might not like. Yeah. You can run directly at the baddies and shoot them. Yeah. Don't really have to worry too much. You can tell it's an old game. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, then it becomes a little bit better. But if you was going in thinking it's a new game, then you're going to be really disappointed, I think. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's skimming across the surface. It's neither here or there to me. Yeah. It was one of those things where, even as I was looking at games, I was like, if I don't play that one, I'm not really hurt. Yeah. But it was opening and jumped in, but it was all right. But I guess the other game that we're missing to probably talk about is actually Yuki Island Express. Yeah. Because we both really enjoyed that. Yeah. So Yuki Island Express, again from Team 17, it's a pinball game. Yeah, it's the weirdest pinball game ever, but it's a pinball game. Pinball adventure game? Yes. Yeah? Yes, that'd be the best way I could describe it. Yeah. So you are an ant who is now basically asked to be the mailman, so to say, on this island, and you have to deliver a rock or a nut, essentially, to someone in the island, and you fall down a hole, and essentially it's caverns, and now it's all bumpers of pinball. Yeah. And you're using your shoulder buttons to like pinball paddles to kick things around. What did you think of this? It's the most refreshing pinball game. Yeah. Ever. Really? Is all I can say. And if anything, I'm saying like, boy, the Switch is really missing pinball games. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's one of the last things on people's lists, I think. Yeah. When you say what sort of game would you like, people say first-person shooters, fighting games, adventure games. Yeah. Pinball's probably one of the last. Yes. Wow, nobody could see this one coming because it's really good. Yeah. It's like pinball in a new way. It's not just one table. Yeah. It's like a full adventure. It scrolls to the right. There's bits where it's not pinball. Yeah. It's really clever. Like it's so hard to explain because beautiful art style. Yeah. It looks very Pixar-ish. Yeah. Right. Very bright colors. Very approachable. Yeah, it's and one of the things I was struggling with it as well because you are this ant. Like you do the kind of pinball things, right? You're trying to get your little nut through some of these areas, and all of a sudden you kind of come surface side, or you come to like a little ledge, and you're like, what do I do? Because now the ball is outside of the play area, and you're like, oh yeah, I just
push it because you're an ant, so you just push the ball back and you're in play, right? So pinball adventure would be the best way I call it. So.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy because it was one of the only indies that had an actual queue and a wait time.
Yes.
Because the demo was quite long anyway.
Yeah.
But people were generally really loving it. It took a long time to get into to actually play it. So
yeah, it was a good one for sure. Any other ones to call mention to?
There's tons.
I'm
drawing a blank now.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just gonna throw a couple others out there that I played. I played Shoe.
Shoe's fantastic.
Shoe's fantastic.
Yeah, Shoe's really good.
Yeah, beautiful art style again.
Yeah.
Very kid friendly. Very kid friendly.
And a new spin on platforming because it's all about teammates.
Yes.
And they unlock abilities.
Yeah.
So that was really good.
Yeah. That was a great one. In Opus.
Yeah.
In Opus. INOPS. I should ask developers how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
3-man team develops this game. Black and white, black art style. The characters are all black. Essentially, you are a blob who has to collect other blobs, and the world around you is treacherous.
Yeah.
And I was saying to them, I said, it feels like a game about loneliness. It feels like a game about family. It feels like a game about a child being scared, and yet none of these are conveyed in words. And that's just me kind of super, maybe pushing my own thoughts on the game, but it felt like that, right, at times. And this isolation, this kind of trying to be cautious of the environment. There was like rocks, and there was trees that could hurt you, and there was fish that could eat you, and you were just kind of like just trying to survive. And you got your mates with you, and you're trying to bring your family along. Very cool game.
Yeah, and another thing, it's one of the only Switch games which is like part touchscreen.
Yes, that was very interesting.
Part button control.
Yeah.
So you're moving things like platforms on with the touchscreen, but you're controlling with the thumbstick.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, a ton of games, guys. And we're going back tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll play some more games tomorrow. Probably do another one of these of like the Nindies as well. So guys, thanks very much for listening to my stuff. Obviously Gary's here. Gary, where can they find what you do?
Yeah, I'm at _Topic Nintendo, which is another podcast.
Absolutely.
So more Nintendo, more topics. Head over there, I suppose.
Yeah, and Gary and I just hanging this entire weekend doing EGX. So that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.